Welcome to the UK's first metal detection podcast. It's All Metal Mode UK with your host from across the pond, Mr. Michael Hare.
Hey everybody, this is Mike here, and you're listening to the All Metal Mode UK podcast with myself and Mr. Dave Sadler. Tonight we have a couple special guests coming on. We're going to talk about Black... Dave, I hope I don't butcher this. Is it Black Ada?
Well, I think we'll get told eventually tonight the exact pronunciation.
Or Black Ada? Black Ada?
I've said Ada, I've said Ada tonight, so I'll let the guest tonight.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll bring him on shortly and do that. I still have this cold. I'm getting over it finally. It's been a rough week, man, but I'm glad to be getting better. I actually canceled both of my U.S. shows this week because I've just been sick and coughing and been a mess. But so I'm really happy to be back on the air. How you been, Mr. Sadler?
I'm not bad. I take it the cough that you've just done was for people to go, ah.
I'm having to hold it back. It's hitting me. I don't know. It seems like, have you ever noticed, like, if you start talking about how you've got a cold and a cough, it seems like you got a cough?
Yeah. So
yeah, one of those. Did I just cough? I meant to mute that. I apologize if I didn't mute that. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. Been a busy week. Last week I was absolutely shot when we done the show. Obviously, I've apologised to yourself and Chris for that. While you were enjoying yourself talking technical, and we all know that I don't do technical. I was away with the birds, and I was going to fall asleep if I didn't go. So I do apologise for my early dart last week.
No, that's okay. I certainly understand, and I know. Although you're very passionate about the hobby and archaeology especially, I know that wasn't your thing. And I felt bad. Doing that show, I was so geeking out that at times I felt bad, but I wasn't about to try to include you because I know it's not your thing. And
it's not that, Mike. Honestly, I could listen to you talking all night. I've said to Chris this week, if he ever writes a book, do the audio one himself, because I could listen to himself all week. There was absolutely no regard. It's just when you start talking deep stuff about technology. And don't get me wrong, I'm an engineer by trade, but when it comes to the ins and outs of the finer workings of the metal detector, I'm a bit lost. So I was. Don't get me wrong, Mike. While you were talking, I was able to do other things. The Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine website, for those who don't know, which is www.archmdmag.com. I was able to make a few changes last week and actually transform the site just by instead of having basically an articles area, I've moved things around. I've now got a separate area for archaeology articles, metal detecting related articles, history and reviews as well, all in one area, and it just makes it look a little bit fresh and a little bit cleaner. And obviously, if somebody does want to read an article about archaeology but doesn't have the interest in metal detecting, which obviously that's one of the things I'm trying to bridge the gap between, then they can just go to that area and not have to scroll through metal detecting articles. So I think that was best. I was also I messaged Luke earlier as well. One of the ideas I'm having, 2 days ago, I shared a news report, which was basically a free archaeology course, online course. So what we're going to be doing as well is getting all the information from all the different areas that run courses or free courses, etc., which people could be interested in. And then we're going to have a separate area on the site for courses alone, which we can then keep people up to date and people who are interested in different things. So that's one of the areas I'm going to be working on over the next couple of days anyway. So yeah, it's been all right.
I would be more than happy to teach any kind of classes on metal detecting. All they'd have to do is fly me over. Just putting that out there. Right.
Yeah, but if you come over, then I'm sure Steph's going to have to come as well.
And then it would be super embarrassing when they find out I'm just a regular guy and I don't have that much.
With one of the world's greatest beards.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, if you fly me over, I will let you pet my beard. That'll be part of it. When you're disappointed in the training you get from me, you can pet my beard if that's makes the deal happen. I'll throw that out there.
And obviously as well, good evening to everybody in the chat room. Any questions you do have tonight for our guests, please feel free to communicate them over to us via the live chat, and either myself or Mike will discuss that with the guests. Also, Mike, I don't know if you've noticed, at the top right-hand corner, obviously, it tells you the amount of followers things have on Spreaker, and you're now up to 13,661 followers, so congratulations on that.
Awesome, I appreciate that. Yeah, we're doing great, aren't we? You're a big help in that, I assure you.
Thank you very much. So anyway, first we'll got a few little news items. Not massive, don't worry. Basically, Scott Dubé, friend of this show, he's recently found an 1885 Victorian gold full sovereign. Looks beautiful. Congratulations on that, Scott. Now, I've been very lucky, and it's something I'm going to be piecing an article together over the weekend to release via the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine website and obviously social media thereafter. A chap I know, he gave me a box in work and he said, Dave, can you do anything with that? Make me sort a couple of photographs out for me properly, please, because obviously I've got the microscopic computer thing that takes really, really good images of some intricate things. Anyway, what was given to me was first a Jetton from the 1600s. I can't remember the date at the top of my head. I was able to see it and date it for him. I have access to an ultrasound machine as well, so we were able to clean it that way. And the other box contained absolutely stunning William III 1695 gold half guinea. So the manner of which it was found was quite interesting, hence putting the article together for this. So yeah, that's coming the weekend. So that's been absolutely brilliant. And finally, with metal detecting over in the US in the last week or so, you've had a bit of a cyclone going on, Cyclone Oma. No, it's not even America. I'm getting it all wrong. I do apologise. I'll start that again and read things properly. Over in Australia, not America, Cyclone Oma has stripped lots of sand from the beaches. And off and out have been the metal detectors with their children, and they've found absolute fortune in modern coinage, jewellery, even keys, and obviously fishing gear, and you name it, they found it. Everything that's been shook up by the cyclone has given them a multitude of finds, which obviously thereafter goes for all of us who are interested in metal detecting. When there's a storm in the area, and you do like beach detecting, I despise it personally. I love doing it for the fact that you're walking along a beach and what have you, but I can't get my head around beach detecting personally with the detector. But, get yourselves out there and you never know what's going to be cropped up. So there's the news, Mike.
That's okay, awesome, Dave. I'm sorry. I had my thing on mute, so just to keep the background noise down. Something I wanted to add real quick. I try to keep everything separate. The shows, the U.S. shows are, of course, anybody can listen to any of the shows. But I know you guys in the UK, you want to hear about the people and what's going on in the UK, and the same with the US. I'll tell you something, though, Dave. I just want to mention, I talked to a guy for over 2 hours yesterday. He's going to be my guest Monday. And the whole reason I got into the podcast was I wanted to talk to these people with this crazy knowledge, they've been doing it since the 70s, when they used to go out and find 30, 40 silver coins a day, and Confederate belt buckles, were common and stuff like that. And this guy's an author. He worked for Garrett for a few years back in the 70s. He's just, I'll tell you how amazing the conversation went yesterday. Look, I've been detecting for a good bit, and I feel like I know a lot. Believe me, I'm always learning. There's still things that we can learn. I don't care how long you've been at it. But in about a half an hour part of this conversation, this guy taught me 3 things that I'd never even thought about that were brilliant. And it was kind of almost overwhelming talking to this guy, and it was amazing. But if all works out, he will be on Monday night's show. I don't know if any of you listen to the U.S. show I do Monday nights with Gypsy Jules, and she'll be joining me. But Monday night should be show, and it's one of the most for me. I'm really excited. I can't even express how much the knowledge this guy has and the people he's known throughout the years. And, he loved telling me the stories, but in no way did I feel like he was bragging or anything like that. He's written for metal detecting magazines, much like myself. I don't know how I'd never heard of him, but yeah, that's really exciting. And I will probably, I don't think I've ever done it, but I'll probably post that one to All Metal Mode Podcast UK after it plays Monday. I think it'll be worth a listen.
So you're going to tell us what the 3 things that you learned were?
Well, if you guys want to hear it, well, one is I'm from Ohio. I'm I'm from the north. Down here in the South, they're very different. They're still living the Civil War. They call me a Yankee. It's really weird. Really, you don't come. You're not from the South and come to the North and they call you a rebel. Okay, so that was really hard for me to get used to. And he said, I told him how hard it is to get permission for me. He goes, that's because you're a Yankee, Mike. He said, you got to learn the language. He lived in Texas for several years back, and he said, y'all, you got to say y'all, and you got to pronounce your I's right. And he said, next time go knock on the door and say, y'all have a really nice place here. And he's right. They have their own language and even the things they say. And I think that was huge. It's just something I hadn't thought of. I usually approach it as, hey, I'm a big dumb Yankee. You mind if I metal detect your place? And that doesn't go so well here. But then another thing he was talking about was, he's an author, and a lot of times he'll use that as, hey, I believe on your property there was a skirmish, a Civil War skirmish or battle, and here's one of my books that I wrote, and I'd like to do more research. I'd like to try to recover some of it. He said, Mike, I rarely get turned down. So using the fact that I've written articles and stuff, I haven't written a book, but I do have magazines, hard copies that I do actually have, and just things like that. The third one now it's the third one was about local research for me. I've really struggled with research, and he told me something that was just amazing. I'd rather not share it this time, but huge. It was something I'd never thought about. So very interesting guy, very interesting conversation. He's cache hunted. He's found caches. He's done it all. He's written about metal detecting, about Civil War, about history. He actually hunted with Charles Garrett. When he worked for him, he hunted with him quite extensively and was a friend of his. And so, yeah, it was a really interesting conversation.
Marvelous. I'll look forward to listening to that. Generally, I listen to the car downloaded shows anyway. So, anyway, awesome. Without further ado, shall we introduce our guest for this evening?
Absolutely.
Marvelous. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we introduce Nathan and Matt, who are representatives, owners, I'm sure I'll be able to learn more in that sense momentarily, of Black Ada, who are a tools specialist in the UK, digging equipment, etc., etc. So, welcome to the show, Matt and Nathan. How are you both?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good to be on the show, Dave.
Marvellous. Now, Mike, obviously, you'll remember, I hope, when I was doing my massive walk, which I don't more miles than I've walked in a long time at Detectable last year. Of all the people we spoke to, we introduced you to Nathan at the time. So you have spoken to him before. So
oh yeah, you're right. I remember. I wasn't sure who I talked to, but yeah, it was Nathan, wasn't it? Great.
It certainly was. So it's been a long time coming. I've been speaking for a while, and obviously trying to sort dates out. Because me and Luke have been, throwing people in here, get anything sorted. So they're here tonight. And Mike, I'm sure you'd like to ask a little bit more because being in America, obviously, you know a little bit less than I do.
Yeah, I will probably sound really stupid at times. And for that, I apologize, guys. I will say, though, before I've ever done the UK podcast, I've heard about you guys for years. So that has to mean something to you, I mean, that tells me a little something about you. You guys have a really good reputation, and so I'm really looking forward to getting to know you guys better and what all you're about.
That sounds good. That sounds really good. So as you know, we've been around 30 years this year, so it's quite a big deal for us coming on your show and just preaching the good word about Blackadder and what we're about, And I think you're right. Just getting to know us as people, not just the company, is really important.
And of course, in one sentence, he's also answered Pete Terrell's question of one of his customers asked, "Is it pronounced Ada or Ada?" So there you go. Officially, we've got Ada.
Do you know what? We've been plagued by this for 30 years. Officially, it's ADA, but because it's an acronym. But everybody calls it Blackadder in the UK.
So what is the acronym?
It's Advanced Digging Aids, but that's about to change.
Even highly more advanced digger aids.
Next level digging aids.
Here we go.
Now, excuse me, I apologize, guys. So, as we were talking before the show, hold on. Oh, I apologize, guys. I have done so good today, and then all of a sudden we're going to get on here, and I'm going to have coughing fits, Dave. Before the show, you'd mentioned that your dad started the business. I would love to hear about that, if you don't mind. If we start there and talking about your dad and all that, I would love to hear that.
Okay. So, I mean, you'll get the brief story on blackadder.com. But he's a tool maker by trade. Archie is his name. He was unemployed for a while and got really into detecting in the UK. And he kept buying these cheap digging tools and kept breaking them. He's a big guy. He's got arms like most men's legs. He's got a bit of weight behind his dig. And he was getting through these tools like nobody's business. And being a tool maker, decided to make his own. So away he went, and he fashioned this thing on an anvil type of thing, and it was a bit garden shed. But you can actually see this on our website on the About Us page. We call it number one. It was the first tool, and you'll see similarities with the Ripper, which is it was the first tool that we started producing in volume in our range. So he made this one himself, showed it to my mum. She said, "Oh, that's quite good." Obviously, being unemployed at the time, she said, "Oh, why don't you start making them?" And that's when the AT music starts, and away we go with the company. It was actually, we were only incorporated on 30 years ago, so it was 2 years previous to that that he actually made that job.
I've always felt like the best things that are out there were made after somebody was fed up and out of necessity. they finally said, I've had enough and I'm going to do this.
Yeah. But I think it's quite a nice thing, if you've got those skills to do that thing, that you can actually, it's a bit of a cliche that it's made by metal detectorists for metal detectorists, but this really is true in this case. He had a need, and he made something to fulfill that need.
I hope this is okay to ask. Is Dad still around?
Yeah, he's still around.
That's
still,
great.
Still alive.
Good deal. Now
he's down the factory actually.
I was going to say you two run the company, or one of you run the company, right? Which one of you, or do you run it together? I'm sorry.
I'm more so the sales and the marketing and all that type of thing. Matt's hands-on the shop floor, so he's the guy that bashes these things out and
awesome.
Keeps the orders flowing.
So Dad's still there bossing you guys around, it sounds like.
No, Matt's the boss. Matt does the bossing. They're both boss.
Like an episode of American Chopper, if you've ever watched that.
Is that what it's like? Oh, Lord.
Total family. We just like them.
Oh, that is too funny. That's great. God. Now, do you guys mind kind of introducing each one of you introducing yourselves, telling us a little bit about you and stuff? Like, and what capacity you're, go into a little more detail of what you do at the shop and everything?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I started off with my dad.
Now, this is Matt, right?
This is Matt, yeah, sorry.
Matt sounds like a tough guy.
Matt looks like a tough guy.
Sitting here with tattoos up his arm and a ring through his nose, and no, I'm joking. He's a nice guy.
When I was young, I started off knocking around with all the metal detectorists in the 80s. I know a bit about like my dad making his number one shovel. A lot of the guys, there's like Al Atkins out the Judas Priest, he's a detectorist. Kevin Hill worked at Regton's in Birmingham. There was quite a big gang of us, like touring Wales, having different digs and that, really, really interesting stuff coming up. But they all had that big story. They've all got to try and make it. One had got to do the book, one had got to do the metal secting. And they've all got to meet on that big hill.
Yeah, that everybody wanted to make it big and just get back together in the later years, and so just talk about the old times and look where we've got to.
Did we make it? The one chap was going to do a book on metal detecting. He'd done all the research for years, Kevin Hill, but that didn't work out too good.
He passed away, sadly.
Yeah.
So, that's a shame.
We're the success story, like with the shovels and that. Al Atkins did pretty well with the heavy metal rock bands.
Yeah, Judas Priest. He was one of the founder members.
Wow!
Gosh.
Yeah. So like we're doing the detectable thing as well now, ain't we? And meeting up with all new people.
What was that like? Did you guys have fun? Was this your first year at Detectable?
No, we've done it before. It's we've been there quite a few times.
Have you? Okay.
We sort of got handed the reins from Archie, and as I say, he's still around, so active with the business and that. But he got diabetes, and it stopped him getting out detecting in the fields and that, because of his health, and he's carrying a bit of weight and his joints are failing and that. It's the age old thing that he's there in mind but not in body on the field, getting stuck in. But he's we sort of cracking along, aren't we? And we took it on. This the 5th year now, isn't it? And we started just getting out there, and just talking to the customers, and because my dad couldn't do that for the years before, and just listening to people really, and developing new products and talking about why we could tweak things and make things better, and that's the recipe for any product really. Listen to your customers and fulfill the demand.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But Matt's been instrumental in this, really, because he's also a tool maker. He followed in our father's footsteps, as it were. But you came up with like boot saver, which is stop people splitting the boots. A common problem. A big, massive footrest on a really chunky shovel. As you know, well, probably in the UK, people are swaying towards bigger shovels, so they don't have to bend down. And as you know, if you've not got a shovel, dig over, you're going home, aren't you?
Right.
So this thing, it fulfilled that need as well.
That's great.
Search a Spartan cover.
Yeah.
Which is in the magazines.
So we're working with Searcher magazine, which is fairly big in the UK, Europe.
Yes, of course.
And, we've been working with like Gary, Sid, about the ergonomics of these shovels, and the size of things, the weights of things, and just fine tuning things down. So we've actually developed there's two shovels in the range. One's called Spartan, which is the shovel, and one's called Spartan knife, which is like, as it suggests, like a hand knife. They're all available on our website as well for sale, and all our dealers carry them as well now. But that's been quite a good thing for us. This came from going on one of the rallies, talking to Harry at the Searcher magazine. Just getting on. We've got a lot in common as companies. And she suggested getting involved with each other. So she was interested in getting a range of products. We were interested in getting our range a bit more publicity and getting out there, and benefited from their guys do all the testing So it's worked really well for us. That one.
The hardcore metal detectors.
And
that they out every opportunity. If not,
they live and breathe metal detecting.
And you're getting exactly what you need to know.
Now, so, Mike, I haven't got a black Ada. I've just got a basic B&Q shovel, and I will get one soon when I eventually have the money and the time. But I obviously saw all the products that were at that point selling last year. And there was one in particular, I think it's the one you may have just mentioned. It was a big, tall spade. And for me, if you remember, I don't know if you do remember, I was playing with it specifically because for me, as a 6'1" person and bulky, it was absolutely perfect for what I would need. And it would save digging time, and it'll send bending over and everything. So absolutely perfect for what is required. So, it is something that is on my shopping list, or if Mrs. Sadler can hear me through the door, perhaps on a birthday present list.
Something I don't, me stumbling around for words. Sometimes I'm kind of ignorant because on what's going on in the UK and stuff, and or the details, being an American. But I was just wondering. I shouldn't even ask that, Dave. But I was wondering if there's any other. Anybody else in the UK doing what you guys are doing? Because I was just sitting here thinking I've never heard of another. I've heard of you guys for years, but I've never heard of any other manufacturer. So I guess I'm not going to ask, but what I'm going to say is, if there are, you guys must really be doing it right because you're the only ones I've ever heard of. So,
I think it's reputation. As you say, 30 years. Somebody would have heard of you after 30 years of making these things, right?
Right.
But there's a couple of people trying it. But I think there's, as a company, I mean, we're not massive. We're a family business. We'll muck in, and we get the job done. But if you look out there, there are people that have probably seen our stuff and thought, "Oh, we could do that," but they have to go through the growing, which we've done over the years. Yeah, and many people have started, and they've made the products, and they've got to this point in their career and thought, "Wow, this is great." They've got to start producing these things in volume. Oh my God, I need to spend 10 grand on a tool to bend the blade, oh dear, I've not got 10 grand, and the company fails. That's quite a common story.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys brought that up because it's really funny. I often see on social media where somebody has made their own tool, their own digging tool, and I'm not trying to discourage anybody, but I've literally had water come up out of my nose as I come across the picture, and I laughed so hard at this monstrosity that they had built. But I have a friend who makes knives. Quick story. For himself, he likes to make knives, and he thought about making himself a hand digger. And he said, Mike, I sit there and thought about it for a little bit, and the time and money I would have into it, it wouldn't be worth my time. So, yeah, I think there are people out there who might have the skills to make their self a hand digger or even a decent shovel, but to turn it into something production's a whole different story. And I agree, most would never have a shot at it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, making something commercial is a total different ball game. I mean, we've spoke to these guys ourselves at Detectable and all the rallies, down the country, and they come to us and say, "Do you know what? You should make one of these." We just look at it and the conversation that we're having in our head is like, "Do you know what, mate? You go for it." That's obviously the perfect shovel for you because it's like going to Savile Row and having a suit fitted for you. That is the perfect suit for you, or the shovel in that case. We can't do. We're an off the peg sort of outfit. We make shovels in volume, so we're never going to match the guy who's crafted his own shovel to exactly.
Right. Exactly.
And that's a weird thing for a company to say. I know.
No, I mean, but I'm sure if somebody come at you with a design that you thought, oh, that's a really good design, we could add that. I would. I mean, you guys offer a lot of different things, so I would suspect the right thing you guys would be willing to look into and possibly produce down the road. I would suspect.
Mike, am I going to open the floodgates here?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Sometimes there's just that little detail we would add, and it ain't too much to change to it.
That's right. I mean, people have said to us, "Why don't you put holsters and put straps so you can carry the thing?" These are all brilliant ideas, but they just take development time.
Knife and forking, it's called. You have to keep laughing around. It's about keeping the cost down in this country. At the moment. Everything's the overheads are terrible at the moment. You got to just keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Yeah, exactly.
I can totally relate. I make headphones for Metal Detectorists, and to even you have to offer some different options and stuff, but to even get to one pair took me a few years, and that was with other people out on the market making something really similar. But to get each component I wanted, and I don't like this, I don't like that, I got to fix this, I got to change this, to make one pair of headphones took me so much longer than I ever thought it could. So yeah, I know where you guys are coming from. I mean, what might look easy, why don't you guys do this, is much harder to put in production and actually make sure it's right and it'll work and everything else than what a lot of people would understand.
True.
We've made proper with a dissect press tools, and then to just start altering things later, it costs a fortune to have
it does.
Modifications done to the tooling.
Mm-hmm.
So you can keep listening to people, but it's in my head. I've spent like $2,500 on a modification. So I've had to just leave it. You
do find yourself sort of, you take on board what people are saying with the greatest of respect.
Right.
You try it, it doesn't work. You talk to them and say, "Look, we tried this," and try and involve them. And I mean, sometimes it has worked. We've done some brilliant things off an off the cuff comment that somebody's made at a rally, or and developed a feature of the shovel from it.
luckily with the laser cutting we use in there, you can alter things quickly. But like when it comes down to the form tools, that's where the money is, getting them properly bedded out to each other.
Oh yeah, you can barely lift these tools. They're really big chunks of metal.
The strip fed, power press goes over, bang. As quick as you can push the strip in on the feeder, it's banging another part out. Proper mass production, proper setup line. So if you don't invest,
once you get there, you can produce fast. But getting to, I'm sure when you guys make up a new, you decide you want a new blade, the material going into that fixture, or what would you call it? I mean, I'm guessing there's a good chunk of money in that, and a lot of time to get that going. So, I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah. I mean, just getting back to your point about, other companies trying to do this and then failing at sort of the first or second hurdle. We're quite fortunate in the family that whether my dad did this intentionally or not, I don't know. But he's one son is a tool maker and one works in advertising. So, there's kind of good team there straight away. Yeah, nice work, Archie.
Yeah, right. He groomed you guys. You didn't even know it, and he groomed you. He got you guys ready to take it over.
He did, yeah.
Now something, I hope, guys. I apologize. I wish we'd have had more pre-show time. Again, my apologies for running late, because there are a few more things I wanted to kind of ask you before I put you on the spot, and I want to put you on the spot real quick. I hope it's okay.
Yeah.
Do you get aggravated with these tools coming on the market that, okay, I'll say it. You guys don't have to say it, but some of the metal detector manufacturers have come out with hand diggers and such, and I've watched guys bend them like butter. Is that aggravating to you guys to see these mass-produced, cheap, I hate to say it, but junk tools that some of the manufacturers and different things are offering?
Yeah, the prices they're charging.
That's
the irritating thing. Because the customers aren't getting value for money. Some of them are just folded pieces of tin, and they're expecting I've seen $35 on some of these folded pieces of tin, and it's absolutely. It makes you feel terrible.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story. One of the guys at Detectable came up to us a few years back, and he came up to us and he said, "Feel that." And it was some, I'm not going to name names, but it was a really light shovel. And like Matt was saying then, it was a folded piece of metal with a carbon fibre shaft. And he said, "This is the best thing since sliced bread. I've had it for years. It's never let me down." Now, there was a lot of flint in the soil at the one, and it was really funny. And no word of a lie, he came back to us. And he was looking at the tools, and he says, nah, I'm not taking one of your tools. Because everything was there, laid out in front of him. And he said, "This is the one for me." He went off and came back a few hours later. He says, "You wouldn't believe it broke." So, in one breath, it does annoy us slightly that, people are making a living out of making rubbish, basically. But, there are different ends of the market, and we're quite aware of that. It's people haven't got bottomless pockets, some our top end shovels £70, but it's a gleaming trophy of a shovel. It was the one you picked up, Dave.
Yeah.
You as you said earlier, it was a beast of a shovel. It won't let you down.
Oh, perfect for the likes of me. Perfect.
Yeah, but not everybody's that money to spend.
But at the same time, I'm perusing the website. I'm in the shop, obviously looking what's there, and you're starting at £9 for a trowel, a digger, a handheld digger.
Yeah.
Where else can you get something like that for? Of a quality product? And your most expensive is $69.99. And again, it's a big unit, which it's got last in it. It's got everything perfect. It's going to rip through the ground. It's going to do exactly what you want, and it's cheap. It's half the price of a beginning metal detector.
It's not cheap. It's affordable.
Okay, sorry, affordable. Yeah. And as well as that, obviously, it's got the boot savers, stirrups on it. It's got all the other bits and bobs, and 82 centimeters long. Perfect. I've not looked at the prices before, I'll be honest, and I'm quite in awe of the fact that some of the things that you're selling are. I mean, a friend of mine a couple of years ago. I can't remember. It wasn't Blackadder, but he bought Blackadder. He bought another one that I haven't actually seen him on for sale. It was orange handle. I haven't seen him for a while, and it had a crook in it. It was bent to a degree. Fantastic, and I looked for it myself to get one at the time, and it was more expensive than Blackadder. But having used his and obviously tried your own, I know what my preference is.
Yeah, a lot of those tools out there are really, especially some of the ones that the manufacturers are putting their name on, are really bad quality, and some of them even look great, but and they're expensive. Some of them are really expensive. I had a friend years ago. He wanted a shovel that one of the metal detector manufacturers made, and I said, why? And he said, because it's got their name on it. I'm a big fan of this manufacturer, and it was a good chunk of money. I want to say it was $45-50, and he got it, and the first day using it folded over like butter, and that's a real shame. I got to tell you guys a quick story. I think you'd like this. I think it's okay to share it because he's here in the United States. I've had Predator Tools on my show. They're an American manufacturer of digging tools and stuff, and I've become friends with them through the podcast and stuff. And George has given me some shovels, and I've even told him, man, I've got everything. I've bought everything I've wanted. You guys have given me stuff. And one day we were talking. He said he was talking about having his wife send me another shovel, and I said, George, I got everything. And he's like, there ain't nothing you need. And I said, I've been looking through your category, through your not your category, through your catalog and looking. And I said. And excuse me, guys, I'm still getting over this cold. I apologize. I said I've always wanted a shovel that'll scoop dirt out, because I do a lot of fresh plowed fields, and although he makes some great shovels, there wasn't anything that really scoops out. And he said, you're right. I don't think I really have anything what you're talking about. A few months later, he called me and he said, hey, I need to check your address again and make sure I got your address right. And I said, what for? He said, it's a surprise. He sent me a new shovel he had developed. And when I got it, I gave him a call, and we're talking about it. And he said, I think that's what you were wanting. And I said, that's exactly what I was wanting. And I said, I appreciate it. He said, if you look at that, it's either stamped number 1 or number 2. He goes, I don't know which one I kept, but you've got the serial numbers number 1 or number 2. And here he sent me the one with number 1. So I thought that was really cool, really neat guy. I know he's not in, the UK and stuff is the only reason I brought that up. I don't mean any disrespect. I know you guys build high quality stuff. And I, like I said, I've heard about you guys, but not offered here. I'll tell you, if you guys were in the United States, I got to admit I'd have to have one. I like a couple different of your designs. At least a few of your designs are really cool to me. Now, if it's okay, I'd like to get into what are your most popular shovels for diggers, for detectorists?
Gladius and Spartan,
Yeah,
the new Searcher.
What we find is that there's a bit of a north-south split in the UK. I can't speak for Europe so much, but I mean we're really covering lots and lots of Europe now. But for the UK, you tend to get the black shovels, which are the cheaper ones. They're made from mild steel, which is a cheaper material, in the north of the country, and in the south of the country, which is a bit more affluent. As a broad brush comment, they tend to go for the stainless steel, which it doesn't rust. It's a more expensive material. They're all polished and they look really, really spectacular looking shovels. But yeah, generally people are going for the bigger shovels, which are the Gladius, which has got a T-top, and the Spartan shovel, which has got a plastic D handle, which is a bit warmer in that climate.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Now, go over a couple, if you don't mind, go over a couple of your designs for me and tell me how. Well, I mean, why do you guys have some different designs? Like, can you give me some of the purposes? Like, you know, is one better in rockier conditions? Is one better, that kind of thing? Can you kind of give me a little rundown on your most popular shovels?
Sure. I think it's the Invaders, good for the odd flintier ground, because the blade isn't. It's like a narrow blade. I think it's about 4 inches, 5 inches across. So when you got the hard ground, it stabs through quicker. You can't be using these big wide blade shovels on like the
less resistance.
Yeah, it glides through the ground easier. With the stainless steel as well, with a flint, it really stands up to the job.
Gotcha.
But the Maximus, that's a pretty good shovel for all round, because we don't like doing the blades too big, because the machines are pretty accurate on the pinpoint. Most machines are now, and you don't want to be digging a big plug and making a mess of somebody's field.
Right.
With some of the bigger shovels, you're only trying to recover like a coin, and you don't need to be digging an hole 8 and 10 inches diameter.
You just hit on a really good picture, actually. I mean, people might look at our things, and I think you touched on this earlier, which, it just looks easy. It's just a shovel, but it's not. There's a simple thing Matt just said then about the plug. Our blades are curved, not V'd, because it's a stronger thing. It's actually a more difficult thing to tool up for, because, as I said before, you have to spend 10 grand on a die set to stamp that thing out.
Right.
But people cut circular holes, so why wouldn't that blade be curved? Mm-hmm. It's easy when I say it, but people don't consider these things.
These holes are like footings for the building. I've watched people digging. They're just digging haphazard, going mental with it. Yeah. We're trying to keep it controlled a bit, and a bit of thought going into what you're doing.
They're going into trouble with these things, not digging holes.
And they're going through the fines, and it's supposed to be retrieving could be a Roman coin, anything really. And people forget, it's a proper technique in metal detecting, but some of them are just going crazy and wrecking the fines as well. But keeping that blade at a certain size, it's, one for the ground conditions, and you've got to know which tool you're going. If you're going where you're going detecting, you've got to nominate your tool, ain't you? You've got to know what you're doing. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to be having a bad back trying to put these big blades in the ground where you need the Invader. If you go in the Cotswolds, is quite flinty. Different parts of the country, and it's all to do with researching your dig, your permission.
Absolutely.
There's lots of metal detectors.
Absolutely.
So, hours. Carry on. Sorry.
Like when you've been out for 5 hours at a time, you start getting wise to what you've got to think about what you're doing, and getting that right tool for the job. It's imperative, really, to save your body.
Mm. So, how many items do you have currently in manufacture and such like?
Is it 11?
But it's because they come in different finishes, really. So there are a few that we make for other people, you see, so it's a difficult number. In all honesty, we put people's logos on blades and do different, like Frankenstein monsters, sort of concoctions for certain people. So there's not really a number that would be meaningful to the listeners.
Roughly 12. Blackadder 12.
Yeah, Blackadder 12. Yeah,
roughly 12.
Now we've also got a few questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
on the feed.
Should we be scared?
No, not at all. They're all nice and easy. The first question from Aaron from South Coast Detecting. Can Blackadder please make a long handle sand scoop, one that can be used stood up straight? Is there anything in the process potentially?
Well, there's very much so. There's actually, he's probably got metal on his mind, but there's actually one we're developing in plastic and carbon fibre at the moment. So you can obviously pass your coil over the top of it without needing to empty the basket.
I think that's about genius. Because although I don't do a lot, I do some beach hunting, and if you can make something plastic that will hold up because that can be a real issue, especially when you got something tiny, or I can use my pinpointer. I think that's brilliant. If you guys can make that happen, I think that'll be a huge success.
It's almost there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We might be making the same size, it's the bigger basket type we're doing, but we might be able to make one in metal or stainless. Yeah. We're just seeing how it comes off the machines.
We're proving it in plastic at the moment. There seems to be a demand for it.
We need to do something.
That was actually a fantastic and my favourite word segue from the question to something you mentioned off air earlier. The second question, again from Aaron: have any detector manufacturers approached you about making tools directly for them?
One.
The one. I'm not naming who it is. This was at Detectable. It was just a brief conversation with this particular manufacturer, and again, it was component parts of things we already make, but in a different configuration, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yes, is the answer.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
If anybody else does have any questions for Nathan or Matt, please feel free to put them in the chat room, and we will ask the questions more or less immediately. Michael?
One that I saw that I don't know, didn't Mackenzie Crook use a Blackadder in Detectorist? I don't know.
He did not. No. And we were gutted. We were absolutely gutted.
How was that for free promotion?
But if he wants to get one in next series, we're all ears.
We're normally on the time team. We normally see the shovels on the time team. The stainless steel ones.
Yeah, we've seen a few knocking about on TV. Yeah. There was one on an advert for Argos. Dave.
Oh yeah.
The American listeners, apologies, you probably won't know that brand. But in the UK, there's a brand called Argos. They sell everything and anything that's like a catalogue full of home stuff and toys and gadgets and things. There was an advert on TV where it was a full screen close up of one of our sand scoops. That was quite cool.
What machine was it? Lab or something. He was on the beach. He got one of our scoops. We was having people phoning in saying congratulations for getting in with.
They thought we were selling in Argos, and it was a pure fluke.
I got it. This is funny. A few things here. Pete Terrell said, "Can we get Matt on a high energy diet so he can make my orders up a bit quicker?"
Hello, Pete. How you doing?
Got a bad foot at the moment. That's why it's a bit slow.
Pete's probably upset you're taking time off of building his shovels to do the podcast.
We have to sleep, mate. We have to sleep.
Tony said something that I agree with absolutely, and I think it's a really good point, and I think manufacturers do listen to the show from time to time, or at least some of the episodes, and good to see a company that actually takes pride in their products, ensuring that they're manufacturing quality equipment. And what I'm referencing that to, I know what he's saying, but for these detector manufacturers who are, it goes in with that question: have you been approached by a metal detector manufacturer? Most of them have digging tools and stuff. I'm going to just say it. Most of them are made in China, or if not all of them. I don't even have a problem with that. But when they fold over like butter and you're charging your customers a lot of money for that, I think, I don't know if you guys would even be interested, but I would highly recommend the manufacturers, maybe don't make quite as much on a shovel, on a digging tool, and have it built right and have it built by these guys. I believe in that big time.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a pretty strict quality control the procedure. You're talking to the guy that actually makes the shovels, Matt here. He inspects everyone. And, somebody might get something that there might be a very slight defect in the metal or something like that. Something we can't see,
Right. It happens.
He has eyeball that goes out that door.
He's pretty on top these days.
Yeah.
That leads me to a question I got to ask. I'm sure, I don't care who's making it, there's going to be failures from time to time, without a doubt. I don't care who you are, what material you're using. Have you guys ever gotten anything back that made you laugh? Like, it was like ran over by a truck or, used as...
There you go. That happened.
Be truthful with us.
Yeah, that's a good story. Actually, you said run out by a truck. It was actually a Land Rover in this case. The guy came on, not naming any names, but it was a few years back now. And I see Matt gets off lightly on this one. He's busy welding shovels up. I get the aggro. But he came on. He said it bent like butter. It's rubbish. This is And you say, "Oh, send me some pictures," and he was quite right. It was bent like a Urigella fork. Yep. This thing, you start probing and just trying to be helpful, because that's what we want. That's what we are as a brand. We want to know so it doesn't happen again. And we got to the truth. He drove over it in his Land Rover, and he said, "Play, boys." He said, "You make a good shovel."
He was just after the frame.
After a free shovel.
He admitted in the end he couldn't keep his poker face on.
No, we pulled his blood. That was a cracker.
Sometimes a split in the tube, that's just down to the mill, tube mill. You will get that.
There is an upshot to this story. I mean, it's a piece of metal at the end of the day. It's got a breaking point, and all we say to people is, we understand how you dig a hole. It's not rocket science. I mean, there's technique in it and all that, but generally speaking, if you use a shovel as a lever and put enough weight on it, it will break.
They're big enough, ain't they?
Matt's sitting next to me. He's a big guy, my brother.
17 stone.
He's 17 stone. He's a big hunk of man. We tested. It was the Gladius, was it?
Mold steel.
We stuck it in a hole in the wall and he was hanging off it. So that gives you an idea of how strong our gear is.
Somebody still reckon the bent one, digging in the icy conditions.
Yeah, he was digging in icy soil and it bent like butter, didn't it?
We've just had to do a test, a carbon test on it, and a material argon monkey test on the actual quality of the steel, just to prove that we're not using Chinese steel.
Yeah. I mean, we use best quality 304. It's 304, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good stainless.
304 stainless steel.
British standard.
Oh, nice. Good. That's really good to know. So you guys are using, is there a difference in quality from steel coming from China versus what you guys?
Massive.
Yeah.
I mean, we found out the hard way. I mean, this was it was one of our suppliers sent us the wrong batch, and the carbon content was wrong on it, wasn't it? It was some of the black mild steel tools that we did, and we'd got hell that month.
Oh, guys, I lost you. Dave, are you there?
Hello.
Job done.
Okay. There.
I'm here.
The material in China, it's called chromide. It's you can put a magnet on stainless. It ain't supposed to stick. And the stuff from China, the magnet still sticks to it. And they're saying it's got a stainless content, and then they're passing it off as a stainless shovel and charging people.
Clever wording, you see.
Yeah.
Clever wording.
You put a magnet to a shovel, a stainless shovel, it shouldn't really...
it's not magnetic.
It's not supposed to. We use the proper stuff. That's why some of the shovels are like 70 quid. We're surprised how much in that £70 is actually material costs. It's not the company being like greedy. It's such a, So everything has to be checked. It's British standard.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to know. I thought maybe since you guys do make so many shovels and everything that you might use Chinese steel. I didn't realize there was such a difference, and that's not something I wanted to ask because I didn't know and I didn't want to. So that's awesome. I mean, that's a huge plus in my book.
Yeah, I mean, it causes problem for us on the manufacturing side as well. As Matt just said, you can't weld it. It's rubbish.
The lead content's absolutely shocking. Even I've repaired exercise machines from China. You try and re-weld that stuff they've got, it's just something else. The lead content is terrible. So we're using the proper stainless British standard Gargarung.
Yeah.
We have another question here. Well, it's not so much a question, it's an offer, I think. Aaron from South Coast Metal Detecting. Now, some people won't realise this, but Aaron's actually the person who does the voiceovers for the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine News. I think he's done this show as well, Mike. Am I right?
Yeah.
We've had Aaron. He asks, do the guys need a voiceover for their social media adverts? And also, he was also Father Christmas on a well-known Christmas app as well. So if you need anybody for the voiceover...
Well, hold on a second. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll be right back, and you can hear it for hear for yourself a little bit. How's that?
Marvelous.
Sounds really good. Tell him to lead in with ho, ho, ho.
Okay, we'll be right back. Give us a minute, and we'll be right back.
Nocta Macro Detectors is the fastest growing manufacturer in the industry, and for good reason. Many detectorists, including Mike Hare, call us the most innovative, but we are so much more than that. We listen to and care about our customers. We also offer a wide range of detectors to fit all of your needs. Come check out all of our products today at www.noctadetectors.com. Detectors for everyone, everywhere, a lifetime.
And I added the music. You can blame me for that hot mess. That's me. There we go. Oh man, I'll tell you what, this cold's still getting to me, Dave. I'm telling you.
Stop crying, woman.
Pete said he's also the voice you hear when you call their sales line. He's got such a great voice. I wonder how much it costs from the United States just to call after hours and hear his voice.
Is that Pete?
Yeah, Pete said that.
Yeah,
Pete Terrell. Yeah.
Long back. Pete went live on Facebook. It was absolutely fantastic to see how many people came on in the matter of half an hour's slot.
He's got a lot of love. A lot of love in the room for Pete.
A macro influencer away, and I tell you what, the comments people was all putting little things on. Like I really enjoyed that little show. He got his new shopping wires.
Pete's a great guy. We've had him on the show a few times, and we will definitely have him back on again. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you look at how long his dad started the company, didn't he? And our family's known their family for decades, haven't we?
They always give value for money. Anything they do, it's value for money.
And he'll bend over backwards to help you.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He just, and I'm going to go ahead and announce that while we're talking about him. I'd like to say he now carries Rudis Alder 71. If you guys have heard of it, one of my favorite detectors, of course, Nocta Macro. I'm a huge fan, obviously, and carries Nocta Macros and a lot of other ones. I'm sorry, Pete, off the top of my head, I don't know. I've visited your site many times. My memory's just not that good, but he carries a lot of different detectors. And a good guy. Really good guy. Opened up a new store. How awesome is that? He was on talking about that. And
the Wales branch of LP.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Absolutely. So, and he obviously carries your guys' shovels.
Yeah, he does. He only carries our shovels, actually.
And it sounds like his only complaint is getting Matt. It sounds like he wants you to work around the clock, Matt. I don't know. It sounds like he's.
He does, yeah.
He's one week a year at the moment. Holidays.
Yeah. Cheers, Pete.
I'm being banned from all the rallies because I need to be down the factory.
That's it. Matt's got whip marks across his back.
That big order in the morning. It was all packed up today. Spartan shoveling. It's really doing well. The search is Spartan.
Oh, it is, yeah. He's a good salesman, Pete. He's shifting some gear of ours.
Fourth order this year, isn't it?
I bought a few items off him a couple of weeks ago. I've been searching high and low for a fat person finds pouch. And fair dues, I asked him. He went, yeah, I've got one that'll suit you. Because obviously he's met me and he can see I'm not the smallest of human beings. So, that came
Me neither.
came promptly. And I've had to shorten it because it's too big. So I made up with that, to be honest.
That's because you're famous, Dave. You always gain a few pounds when you're in the media.
Nah, I think what it was my creation of the oatcake kebab last week, maybe. But I don't know if Pete. Well, you'll know the oatcake, won't you?
God, yeah. I've just, funnily enough, I was given some this morning.
Well,
because you don't get them round by us.
Me and my mate were just jesting in work, and we both said at the same time, we mentioned oatcake kebab. So on last Friday night, I ordered a chicken tikka and doner meat kebab, and created the awesomeness that is with grated cheese, with onions, etc., and what else was there? Sweet corn relish, and it created the world's greatest ever oatcake, which you're now going to go and you got to try now, aren't you?
Oh, damn right, yeah. I mean, I thought I'd hit the ceiling at cheese and bacon.
Oh, it was immense. Really was, fair dues. Just think, Mike's got no idea what an oatcake is, so I'm going to have to send Mike a picture at some point.
At this point, you guys don't even sound like you're speaking English to me, so I don't know what you're saying. I'm just trying to listen and act like I know what you're saying, and I really don't. Oh.
Well, I'm in the process of sending you the Wikipedia link to tell you what an oatcake is, and there's a picture on the side of the egg and sausage one.
Dave, the oatcake is simply the receptacle. It's what you put in it that's the cake. The key.
It's the English version of man versus food.
Man versus food. Dave versus food. Yeah.
Do you know once I even had it cold, I had grated cheese and salad cream, and it was divine. Beats wraps by a million miles.
Wow.
Hey, Nathan, Matt, I got to tell you something funny. Almost every single show we do, at some point, Dave goes into a complete, it just starts making noises, ouch, and ooch, and he gets a cramp. Almost every show he gets a really bad cramp. And Aaron said, count down to Dave's cramp. 10, 9, 8. That cracked me up. Yeah, we're overdue for a cramp. I don't think you've had one the last couple shows.
Well, last week I more or less fell asleep. The week before that, I went to see the awesomeness that was the man who won Britain's Got Talent. No. And the week before that, I think I had cramp, to be honest. So it'd be 3 weeks without cramp on a Thursday night if I.
Matt's got a bad foot at the moment, so you might have a few oohs and ahs out of him if you look at
it. when you poke him.
Do you know what? If this was one of those special chat lines, you could actually make some money out of it.
Foot at the moment, it's like the bottom of an elephant's leg. That's how small it is. That's why the orders have slowed down a bit.
See, when you say elephant's leg, I automatically go to doner meat on its spit.
Oh, you see, you're a one-track mind, Dave.
Yeah, food.
Yeah.
Did you see the amazing things that we were having? Nigel, Detectable creator, his Foodie Doodies van. There's actually a guy who a friend of ours who was with us at Detectable. He's been on the show a few times, and he does a lot of bits and bobs for the magazine. He's actually had a BAP named after him called the Stokesy, and it was just immense. In fact, when we're at Detectable this year, I'll take you over and introduce you to the Stokesy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Do you know, you just opened up another world in my mind that Nigel does requests.
He certainly does. Let's take him a load of oatcakes down.
Chili. Didn't mean chili.
Detectable, he didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
I'll go to Povey's before we go, and I'll pick up a couple of dozen of oatcakes, take them down, and see what he creates.
Oh man, now you're talking.
Something, we've talked about being an American, the things I've learned about the British and stuff, and it's a really neat thing for me, but something that really blows my mind, we figured out that England, that England will fit inside of Texas, which is a single state here in the United States, where I live, and it blows me away that doing this show, what are we at 7-8 months now, Dave?
October, November, December, January, February, March, 6 months, yeah.
It blows me away that we'll get on these conversations and something will be said, and people in chat that are all from England will say, "What's that? What are you talking about?" That even in your country that'll fit inside of Texas, that there's stuff different in the north and south that you guys don't always pick up from one another, which is, just kind of not a bad thing. I don't mean, it's just odd to me, as small as the country is. Does that make sense, Dave? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because somebody else wanted to know what you were talking about that is in England, and I thought, well, that's strange,
Yeah, there's a lot of local products. I mean, there's the forever unanswered question of what people call what I would call a BAP, other would call a batch, other would call a bomb cake. There's about 15 different names just for a small. I don't know what you'd call them in the UK. A small
bread, basically.
Yeah, a small piece of bread that you'd cut in half and have your produce on it on top, and that's about it.
Huh. Interesting.
I
feel like
we've got multiple names.
I feel like we've completely gotten off track now. Good deal.
I'm here. We have to get on about food.
We always do, it seems like. Okay, so you guys have the plastic sand scoop coming. Again, I think that's brilliant, guys. I think that'll be a huge seller. I would love a plastic scoop that holds up. Do you guys have anything else you're working on?
Well, we've got the stainless steel searcher knife.
Yeah, that's imminent, actually, because we've got the... we've been working with the Searcher magazine to produce a knife that goes in their range. We sell it on our website as well. You can only get it in red at the moment, but you might look at things like that and think, well, surely if you can make it in mild steel, you can make it in stainless. Not that simple, is it?
It's the metal finish. When you TIG weld, it blues all the underside of the material. And because it's got a square shoulder, it's cleaning it back up. So we've been trying to do it as neat as we can, which obviously reflects on the price.
Yeah.
So we ain't gone all out crazy on this one. We're taking our time.
Yeah. So you have to prove it. And obviously there's testing as well that we need to go through and all that sort of thing. So it's not far away.
Getting the assembly right.
So just Google it, Spartan knife.
Was not paying out for the odds for something.
I'm going to do that now.
Yeah, me too.
It's got the little finger angled piece so that you don't slip down the handle.
Yeah, nice comfortable grip.
It's very sharp.
It comes with a holster as well. It's the only one in our range that does come with a holster, and it's something we're looking at doing as well, is to introduce holsters for the majority of our tools.
It's got a really decent sharp edge, teeth both sides, and a bit of a root cutter on the front.
Yeah.
Now something.
I've got to say, that's sexy. That is.
It's good. It's good.
It's sexy. It's not good. It's sexy.
It's got that little angle piece, so you can put your thumb on that as you'd like poking through the ground. It's got serious sharp teeth down the side.
It's actually raked very slightly as you get from the handle end to the tip of the blade. It's actually raked, so it just helps you pull it out the soil. If it's wet, and you've got that extra bit of resistance. It comes out a little bit easier.
When you feel it in your hand, it's decent, and it
feels like proper.
It's got the guard on as well. It's got that feel to it. When we're at Detectable, they'll be all across the table. So a lot of people, when you buy on the internet, you're not getting the feel of the product properly. At least on that, you can before you buy, you can actually get the feel of everything. And
yeah, I mean, we're quite open, obviously, because we're a manufacturer.
Pete,
you can actually have a try before you buy type thing, really, at Detector.
Pete said, "Don't Google it, just visit LP." I'll tell you guys, I've done my fair share of welding and fabricating. I actually had my brother and I had a hot rod shop together. Now my brother is way more he's an artist. I mean, he can build a Model A frame, and you hate to see it be put under a car. It's beautiful. But so I tend to notice things, and there's definitely things about your products that I notice that I find very intriguing and neat. Just like you were talking about the Spartan knife, I see what you're talking about the shoulder, and it's like, oh, and then combine that with I've been a detectorist for many years. I definitely can see some of your designs and why there's been a lot of thought put into it. Let me put it simply. I see that you guys have put a lot of thought into what you're doing, and I like that. That's really neat. And I've seen other companies that don't do that. We've got a couple other people building shovels here in the United States that are just horrible. I mean, horrible. And so when I look at your designs, it's like, oh, I get that. Oh, I see. Now, and I know this is the wrong term. I'm sure it's punched in. I don't know. But, a lot of your shovels, it looks corrugated on the one side. And I have to assume that helps cut the plug better if you're going around a direction. Correct?
A couple of reasons for that, actually.
Strength?
It adds strength. Corrugation always adds strength. So not only have you got the concave curve on the blade, which is stronger than a V, you've also got that corrugation, which just adds extra V's and strength. So if you're putting some pressure on it and probably prizing a rock out or something, it's a leading edge as well. It has got a cutting edge.
But it does collect the roots, doesn't it? When you get a wet root and you try and cut with a normal blade, it skids off it so much. With the root cutter, the corrugated, it collects the root and actually chops through a lot better.
Yeah, it grips onto the root.
That's the idea. And you can use an angle with some proper teeth. You can grind sharp teeth into the corrugated, the bottom of the V.
Yeah, we're getting to pimp my adder now.
Yeah.
Do you know, my tool of choice, I've had it now, oh God, it was when I was actually in the field doing archaeology. It's I don't know, it's basically the handle, it's a red handle, it's an old-fashioned handle, and then the blade, it comes out, it's like more or less a half circle, completely half circle at the top, which comes down and rolls into a point, and it's got a ruler on the inside. And that I found, how many times do people say, how deep was your find? And I never know. Without using that, I never know how big it is. I'm about 14 foot down in my head sometimes. It's only 6 inches in with the tool. And I found that perfect for my use, obviously. So, again, looking at your own tools, it's not dissimilar. Obviously, it's not as curved and it's not as pokey and maybe old-fashioned, but you've certainly got the products there for every conceivable dig, really, haven't you?
You've thrown the gauntlet down there, Dave. I'm sure we'll find something else. We got asked to do a pick the other day. Yeah. Now, I think that's really a responsible tool. We were talking earlier about, you're smashing into the ground with this pick and you're damaging your find potentially, aren't you?
It's a bit of a swing, isn't it?
But apparently on the continent in Europe, they're mad for these picks.
In Australia, they use it on the gold.
Yeah.
Prospecting.
You could make a mattock instead.
I'm just sitting here going through your guys' website, looking at all your different tools. I've kind of checked out of the podcast. I got to stop because it's too. I'm having too much fun looking through all your different shovels and diggers, and I love that the Spartan knife. That is beautiful. I like that. I got to say, I like all of them. I see, and how you got some different designs for some different reasons there, and I definitely do. Okay, I'm closing that out for now. I'll look at it later.
Well, when I do come to the point where I am going to buy my new spade, I'm obviously going to contact you again and find out what the one I was playing with at Detectable was, because I won't remember otherwise, even if you tell me 10 times now.
It was Gladius. It was the Gladius you were playing with.
It was delightful, Mike. It really was.
Yeah, they look really neat. I'm going to have to... I got to talk Steph into letting me have some money and see if I can talk Pete into selling me one and shipping it here to the United States. I need a couple, but I don't think Steph will let me do all that. She's a tiny little thing, and people think that that girl's tough, man. I'm a big guy like Dave, and that girl scares me. She's 5'2" of kick your butt is what she is. So I'll have to get some permission and see if I can talk Pete into shipping me one. See if Pete doesn't. We gotta get Pete shipping to the United States, I think, because I need some stuff, Pete. I need some stuff. I need a shovel. He's such a good guy. I like Pete. He's funny.
I'm looking at the Gladius again as we speak, and from handle to point, 95 centimeters, absolutely perfect for a tall person like me, lazy person like me.
It is. But I mean, there's a little thing now about the design. Shipping. The reason why that is that length and no longer is that the minute you go over a meter, the shipping price goes up.
Really?
So if we're shipping direct to somebody in America, for instance, that would be astronomical just for the sake of a couple of centimeters.
The good thing about the Gladius is the boot saver with the semi-pierced grip.
Yeah,
on the top. That's a good feature as well on that product.
You're doing a lot of digging if you wear that out with your shoes. I think your shoes would wear out first.
Yeah. It's extra safety as well. With the stains being polished, you do need to offer a type of grip.
Yeah,
with wet boots and all that type of thing. If you look on the website, you will see the little. There's about 6 on each side.
Yeah, but I mean, again, getting back to development and that. Matt, how much was that tool to make that pierce?
A good 1,800 quid just to put the pips in.
Yeah,
wow.
Just to put some grip on a shovel.
And it has to go in a 40-ton power press, which has got a bit of bang.
I'm looking at it right now, and I love that shovel. I love the length. I like the blade length. I like the step. Everything. That's a sharp looking shovel.
Oh, you want to see it in the flesh? It gleams like pure silver.
Even the plastic handle is a better plastic handle than you can normally get your hands on.
Oh yeah, we researched for probably
5 years. Took me to get that.
5 years, yeah, to try and find that handle.
A good plastic handle, what doesn't just split straight away, like some of the other manufacturers. And to run the wall thicknesses as well. It's all good stuff.
Well, Pete said he'll sort you out. There won't be any problem there. Mike for shipping to the US.
Yeah, I seen that. That's great. I'm sorry, I'm replying in there. I wanted to say, now let me ask you this. A tough shovel that's a little bit shorter, somebody that's 5'2", what would you guys recommend?
Maximus, 100%.
It's the Spartan or the Maximus stainless.
Yeah.
With a boot saver on.
We offer two lengths in pretty much all of our range. We do a regular and extended. So, if they just get a ruler out and measure it against the leg, they'll get a decent feel of where they're at. But I'd say Maximus.
The Maximus is good, but the Spartan's got the boot saver on, and it's got some of it.
But it's got that extra length. It's like 95.
Yeah, some of them are up to your waist. But I reckon Spartan with a boot saver on myself.
Yeah,
that's got to be.
Depends on the individual.
Real good all-round shovel.
Listen, I don't think you can beat getting down to your local, detector shop and just trying these things out for real. It's really difficult buying things over the internet when, you just hop in a car and get down there and...
well, I can't. I don't have that option, unfortunately.
Spartan with a boot saver, definitely. For an all-round digging shovel with a plastic handle.
Pete said, is this the point where the chat falls into the gutter? No, we're doing important stuff here, Pete. Mind your own business. Stay quiet. Shh. So okay, I agree with you guys 100%. If your local dealer carries the shovels, go try them out. Go size one up. But for me, that I can't do that. I mean, do you have one you'd recommend for somebody petite and 5'2"? What would you recommend?
Spartan stainless steel.
I think you've got Spartan there, guys.
Spartan stainless steel, waist height. I'm about 5 foot.
How bad's this person's back?
She's got an old lady back.
Oh, Spartan then. There you go.
Okay.
Job done. With the boot saber, she can give it a kick into the ground.
It's one of the safest shovels I've seen with a boot saber.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's got a massive foot plate on it that you can put all the force you like onto that. It's not going anywhere.
Okay.
It's got the control with the D handle.
Yeah.
Good control.
Nice and warm as well.
Yeah.
Handle.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Okay.
Wet hands, freezing hands all day.
Yeah, that's right.
On the stainless steel shafts. The T-bars.
Yeah, the T-bars.
They're like the plastic.
I must admit that would be my choice, the D handle.
Okay, so thank you guys. I'll definitely talk to Pete about that. Pete made a really good point. He said in the UK you will see these spades on every dig. Touch it, feel it, get an idea of what works for you. I think that just reinforces what you guys said. I agree with that 100%. Sometimes you can't. Even having dimensions sometimes is different than touching and seeing. My first shovel that I bought many years back, I didn't go over all the dimensions. The most important one was the blade size, and it was actually the blade was much smaller than I wanted. Pictures are very deceiving, so. At the very least, make sure you look at the measurements and you know that's what you want. But better yet, go look at one. Go get one in your hands.
Definitely. I mean, our gears. We've been at like Detectiveville and other rallies, and people have come to us and they says, "Oh, this is my Invader. I've had it for nearly 28 years." That happened at the recent Detectiveville. Yeah, it did. And the thing is obviously a bit scratched, and it's not got its beautiful shine on it or all that sort of thing. It looks used, but it's still straight as a die, and it's still functioning as the first day they bought it. So just find one of those guys in the field and just ask them.
And I want to say, if for our listeners, when you have a manufacturer who's saying, "Hey, go find one and put it in your hands and try it," they must really take a lot of pride in what they do. I think that speaks volumes to me personally. So good job, guys.
Mike, you realise, obviously, when you were poorly this week, you put on a past UK podcast onto the US one. Again, this would be a perfect opportunity, if unfortunately it does happen again in the future, to introduce Blackadder to the USA market as well.
Well, can we get them? I don't know if...
No, I mean, you could reuse this podcast in the future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's hard. It's really hard to introduce stuff here, just like it is in the UK, because there is that, if there ever is a problem, the shipping to get it back over is so expensive. This is a little different. From what I hear, you're not going to break one of these, but that is an issue. Like I talk about some European detectors over here in the United States, and nobody, I've got a guy that wants to buy one bad, and he's like, but man, if something ever goes wrong, or, he's got, it's funny, almost every single brand new detector he buys, it's broke. And he has to send it in and get it fixed. He's got the worst luck I've ever seen out of anybody. And he's like, if I buy one of those, if it's broke or something happens, the money I'm going to have in shipping. But yeah, absolutely, we will definitely run this show on the U.S. show next time I'm out, and let people hear. You guys are actually you're known here in the United States. I mean, people that have been in the hobby have heard your name, and I think that speaks volumes to the quality that I mean, I've never even seen one of your guys' shovels other than online, and to know of you here in the United States, I think speaks volumes. So you guys listen in England and the UK, these guys are building some good shovels. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, we've started to get dealers on board in the US now. We've had. I was talking to one today. A good guy called Don down at North Georgia Relics, and he started keeping our stuff there. So look him up if you want to. Obviously, it's a big place, the US, but if you're local, just get down there and have a look.
Eldorado as well.
Eldorado, yeah.
Eldorado Detectors. We spoke to Dan, was it New York, metaldetector.com.
That's right, yeah.
The XP dealer for
and those guys already have them over here? Those companies?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice. I didn't know. I don't know if I lost you guys there.
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, it sounded like you cut out. Okay, well, that's good to know. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I'll definitely check into that then, because that'll definitely save me a ton of shipping and stuff. Sorry, Pete. Pete, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Pete.
Yeah.
Pete, I didn't say anything. It wasn't me.
We still love you, Pete.
That's funny.
Pete's not answering.
You're right. Pete's like jerks.
That's the trick.
And that's it. Matt said, "Don't stand by the bar at Detectable. Don't stand next to Matt at the bar at Detectable.
No, it'll cost you 80 quid in there. Let's just get out of there. Go boy, you're off.
Don't make eye contact at Matt.
Beans on toast for tomorrow for Pete, he says.
Oh, sorry, Pete. Sorry.
I bet you've never even heard of that, have you, Mike? Beans on toast.
No, never heard that.
We have baked beans and tomato sauce in the UK, and obviously you know what toast is, toasted bread.
Right.
Put the beans over, perfect meal.
Cheese and beans policy.
Oh yeah, cheese on top.
Cheese and beans.
Oh, cheesy beans.
Yeah. An OXO cube in there as well, Dave. Yeah.
I've never tried that, and actually sounds a bit wrong. But I'm going to have to try it anyway. Oh, well, look, we're back at food anyway.
Yeah, right there. Full circle. I think that's called full circle, Dave.
Can you rename the show All Metal Mode UK? All Metal Mode and Food UK.
That's it, yeah.
That's funny. Dave, do you got any more questions? Or Do you guys have anything else?
I'd just like basically to ask Nathan and Matt, what's next for Blackadder? Is there anything other than the Sandscoop in the future which listeners can look forward to?
I think there's always products that we're playing around with and just talking to people about, and we're always listening. So we're all ears. We joke about it, but we're always listening.
Could be the big Sandscoop Stein.
Sandscoop XL.
A big version Sandscoop.
More like an excavator that comes with its own power source.
It would be the big Sandscoop.
Yeah, big Sandscoop, probably.
That would be something we'd look into.
Yeah, just on the manufacturing side as well, we're looking to up production. That's an undertaking. Products aside, that is a massive undertaking as well. So we're running short on space now, aren't we? In our factory, bigger factory, more people.
I'm gonna throw something out. Can I come and visit?
Yeah. Damn right you can. Yeah,
I'd love to, because obviously we're not really that far away as the crow flies.
Exactly.
I'd love to come and have a look round.
Yeah, I guess.
Marvellous, thank you.
Greg Tom's on the road as well.
Yeah,
have a little pop in there.
Does any is there any other industries or that use your guys as shovels? Is there landscapers or nurseries or anything that you know of?
Yeah, we get a few sniffs off people that do rabbiting. They send the ferrets down the holes and those type of people. We've had abattoirs using the stainless steel Sandscoop to scoop up entrails and what have you in the slaughterhouse. But they're probably the most random ones. We get gardeners in, obviously.
Right. That's neat. Very cool.
Yeah, it's full on detection, really.
I gotcha.
Mike, you made me laugh there, Mike.
Why?
When you said nurseries, a nursery in the UK is where you send your young children, your 3-year-olds to. Yeah, so I'm just had it in my head. The kids walking around with Spartans.
We need a Blackadder bucket. Make sandcastles.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Well, sorry. Nurseries. Yeah, that's funny. Kids running around with shovels, beating them up each other and stuff. I can see that. It happens. Properly. Pete says, I highly recommend everyone to get on the Black Ada wagon. I thought he was saying you guys had a Black Ada wagon. I'm like, what is he talking about? Properly good product made by a great family business and British too. Can't say enough great things about the guys. Keep up the great work. Does Pete owe you guys money or something? Is he late on? Because he is sure talking you guys up.
Hey, do you know what? He paid up today. He's all up to date with us.
Okay.
No, but you're saying the Blackadder wagon, it would be a tank. The Blackadder wagon, wouldn't it?
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Could you imagine rolling the detectable in a tank? That would be cool.
I could actually see Gary Brunn doing something like that.
Yeah.
Them 6-track Russian lorries, don't they?
Yeah, big Russian tank.
Yeah, with the lid what flips. And then the I-team do actually pop out.
Yeah, the I-team come out.
Scott Dubé said they have 3 Blackadders gotten direct from LP. Fantastic tools. A lot of love for you guys, I'm telling you.
Cool.
It certainly is. I've never heard a bad word said against Blackadder, and that's not because you're talking to me at the moment. That's all honesty. I've never heard a bad word said by anybody who uses the product. And of course, when we were at Detector as well, you helped ourselves a lot in relation to the first magazine that we had printed out. Nate gave us a lot of advice for the future of us doing a hard copy of the magazine.
Yeah, my background is in like advertising, design, brands, that sort of thing. So I'd gladly pass that knowledge on, Dave.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We take it all into account, and obviously, given the fact that it was the first time that Luke put something like that together, we fed all the information back, and a second one was created, but it was only as a PDF as opposed to a hard copy. I think we only done 500 copies. It was a smaller version for a smaller event, but. Yeah, he utilised some of them ideas, and again, next time we'll be putting one on the table this year. It will be looked at again in depth.
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for people that make things from nothing. It takes guts to actually put something together that people want to read or want to use as a product. I think it's a really big thing that you've done there.
Well, I was talking to a chap that some listeners may know called Alex Savage earlier this evening. Another lovely person I met at Detectable last year, and I explained to Alex how all the magazine came about from was myself suffering from a bad period of time off work with depression more or less, and I needed something to bring me out of my malaise, and I thought these two subjects I love, these two subjects I'd like to bring together off the back of the group that I run already, Tempest Archaeology and Metal Detecting, and that's how it was born, and it possibly would have gone under, not so much gone under, but stopped doing it by now if it wasn't for the likes of yourselves and Pete Terrell and Nigel Regton and Digger Dawn and everybody, Andrew Jones, people who have helped, people who've put good words in the way, and especially more than anyone, Luke Higgins. If it wasn't for Luke and the work that Luke does, I don't think we'd be in the position we are currently, where we do have a bit of respect, and we do have a lot of people coming back to read the articles and information that we put out there. So again, that's all thanks to the likes of yourselves. You help. Mike obviously has took us to a next level by giving us a platform to speak on. So it's very. I understand more the feeling of community and metal detecting through this. Definitely,
I think the strength is in the community, and if we can all help each other, I think that it's going to be. It is a better place for it. The community at the moment.
It certainly is. So, Mike, have you got anything else?
The only thing I have is Pete has been funny tonight, man. That guy's had one joke after another. He said, now you have us lunatics to cheer you up every Thursday, Dave. He has been on it tonight, man. He's been the entertainment. I'm telling you. Great guy. No,
Pete's got to do another Facebook, I'll tell you. It's brilliant.
So, you did have something, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I don't have anything else except thank you guys for coming on. It's been fun. It's been great to learn about your guys' digging tools, and all I can say is I wish you a ton of success.
Likewise. Thanks for the invite, and we've really enjoyed it.
And you can also obviously embed this show via the site itself. You can share it. You can embed this onto the Black Ada website if you want, and obviously, then people they can fast forward to me and Mike bits, but they can learn a lot more about yourselves and the company via that.
Absolutely, the link will be there in the morning.
Brilliant.
If you check out on the news section of our website, you'll see it there as a story.
Oh, great! That's great, and we'll get it shared as well. And it's been shared, but we'll get it shared some more and help get the word out. You're right. It's about the community. And sometimes I see bickering and different things going on, but, overall it's a good group of people and a great community, and we all help each other out and work together. And it's great when that happens.
Definitely.
And of course, your website for everybody listening is blackada.com.
Yes. blackada.com.
Now, next week, Mike, we've got a guest that I've been looking forward to. I'm going to sit back and relax because the man's so many stories that I'd like to hear. Obviously, we could probably be here for about 4 weeks with one guest. But next week we have Julian Evan Hart from Treasure Hunting Magazine coming onto the show. I know yourself, you've been very, very excited to speak to him since, again, Detectable.
Right. I'm really looking forward to that. What a great guy. And that's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And the following week, we have TV's Mark Ollie, archaeologist. When I spoke earlier about my time in the trenches, Mark was actually my site manager. So Mark has taught me more or less everything I know about archaeology and the correct way to approach things on site. So we'll be talking TV, we'll be talking archaeology, and a mass variety of other bits with Mark as well.
Exciting stuff. I can't wait for that one. We have not had an archaeologist on yet. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, believe me, Mike, I've signed up 1 or 2 more this week.
Oh, that's awesome. Good deal. Nathan and Matt, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing with us and telling us about Black ADA. I'm going to say it right, Dave. Nailed it. Nailed it.
There's nothing wrong.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
Likewise. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Good night, Mike. Good night, Nathan.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
The Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine acts as a hub for information, offering articles from archaeologists, detectorists and other specialists throughout the genre, featuring many links, event info and news articles associated to archaeology and metal detecting. We also offer professional review services and promotion for books, resources, videos, documentaries, gadgets, equipment and much, much more. The magazine is run by the archaeological and metal detecting community for the archaeological and metal detecting community. So come visit us at archmdmag.com, that's archmdmag.com, and check out information from our media section with all the latest content, news from the Archaeology channel, podcasts and the YouTube channels that feature the now legendary Digger Dawn, the Man with the Hat and Archeo Duck, just to name a few. If you would like to offer an article, link or inquire about other services, then pay us a visit at archmdmag.com and drop us a line.